Welcome to Speaking Cinema, serious movie jibber jabber, a movie podcast coming to you live from under your bed in an unassuming house on Elm Street in Hollywood, California, planet Earth, Milky Way galaxy, Universe 1. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Speaking Cinema, the Search Jibber Jabber on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Speaking Cinema. We talk about the movie, then we watch it, then we talk about it, having had seen it. And for the next few weeks, we are in our Halloween season, season 10, Serious Spooky Jibber Jabber 2016. Kev!
We do this podcast
Can you feel it?
just to do the Halloween season, don't we? Because we love the Halloween season.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and we'll get someone sitting in my right is not gonna like this, but I do think that if we just did Halloween all year round, we could make a podcast on that. I could do that.
There wouldn't be any war, I don't think. The world would just be a better place if we just did Halloween all the time.
Not in my house, but yes.
And like Christmas for 2 weeks.
No, fuck Christmas. We'll do rock and roll movies at Christmas.
Alright, we'll do that.
Rock and roll movies and horror. Rock and horror. Spooky ghoulies. We gotta workshop this title, but maybe this podcast will be the progenitor to the podcast we were destined to make. I don't know, but what I do know is it's my favorite time on the show. And it's our tradition that the only tradition I think that we've kept. We're gonna keep up.
Keep a nice little horror block going.
Now that we're in the second year.
Yeah.
I am your host, handsome young suburbanite, Mr. Jibber Jabber, hosting with me today, as always, the burnt old pedophile sweater enthusiast himself, Kevin.
That's me. Enthusiast on many things.
Hopefully more sweaters and less...
Well, we'll find
Yeah.
out, won't we?
And who's that suddenly jumping into frame with a loud piano noise? A cat in the trash can? Our last girl, Emily.
Yay!
Hey, what do you think about this idea of just all horror podcast?
It sounds terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's about as well as I thought that I could have gone over. So, yeah. And how are you looking forward to us kicking off this big old block of horror? How does that feel?
Great.
Does it?
Kind of.
There's some good ones coming up here. I feel like,
It's a diverse set, that's for sure.
It is. And it's all to celebrate our favorite holiday, nay, the best holiday that's ever been created, Halloween.
Hallows Eve.
And not that I want to get into it too much, but Halloween is the best holiday because you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
You want to dress up? You can do that. You don't want to dress up? That's also okay. You want to eat candy? That's good. You got that diabetes? Don't worry about candy. You want to have a party? You want to watch movies? There's all of these things with it. A whole genre of filmmaking. One could argue heavy metal as your soundtrack. Or some spooky EDM music, whatever you want. And you could do it all, or you could do nothing. And that's okay too. If you're like, oh, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Oh, I'm vegan. I don't eat turkey. People are like, you're an asshole.
Yep.
But if you're like, oh, I'm not really into horror movies. I don't watch horror movies on Halloween. It's like, oh, that's cool. There's plenty of other shit that you can get along with.
It can be both easily kid-friendly and easily, hedonist adult-friendly. So it can be bobbing for apples, it can be down in bottles of whiskey.
Well,
it can
and
be
it's good.
anything you want.
Because when you're a kid, it's not necessarily automatic you have to hang out with your parents.
Yeah.
Holiday, but it's still a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I always liked the parade that we would do.
A
around-
Halloween parade. What a novel idea.
You guys never did that at school?
No.
I did that. Yeah.
Okay,
so
where you
everybody-
all got in your
each of
class?
the classes walked
Yeah.
around, everyone was in their costumes.
Exactly, and you just snake around the school.
No, see, my school, and you guys know me, I don't use this word. But the amount of hating going on in my school, a kid came into school as a ninja and was reprimanded for being something too violent.
Wow. Hayden ass school.
What was your guys' favorite Halloween costume from when you were kids?
I always had shitty Halloween costumes as a kid because I didn't understand how costumes work. Because, nowadays we live in this beautiful time, and I am really stoked on this where, people are negative on cosplay or whatever. It's awesome because you understand what a costume is, right? If you got a whip, and you got some khaki clothes, and you got a hat, you're Indiana Jones.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, we were at Kamikaze, a.k.a. Stan Lee's Comic-Con, Los Angeles, which is its new name. And we saw a girl, and she was wearing a bodysuit covered in question marks with a purple little eye mask thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, she's the Riddler. And it's like, that's not what the Riddler's never worn any of that, but you just knew.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that until I was probably like 27. So I had a lot of Bobo costumes, but undoubtedly my best costume I ever did, and I hook up to my mom. Actually, it's two. One year she bought me a Steve Young costume like out of a kit, and it was like a 49ers, you know,
okay.
and it was super cool. And I think we got a helmet separately. She fucking figured that one out. I think she was hot on those 49ers at the time. And then one year I was Mario and my brother was Luigi, and I am shorter and he is taller, and I am more round and he is more skinny, and it was like a perfect costume.
Completely worked out.
Yeah. No, if you see a photo of that, which those do exist, it's like next level. So that's the best one.
You guys should repeat it this year.
It's in the works. I'll put that into action.
Very good. I very well remember my blue M&M costume.
Ooh!
I believe my grandma made it. It was a very large, poofy blue M&M.
Is blue the...
Oh, this was before blue was, like, even the M&Ms had characters before.
So you just like
It was
blue.
blue M&M.
Yeah.
So
That's cute.
That's cute.
it worked out. And
And
I
also-
had a little devil costume that I liked a lot. And I really liked my vampire costume because it had a medallion. And I thought the medallion was
Very nice.
So-
Also, we were combination of the guy from Scream / the Grim Reaper, like maybe 6 Halloweens in a row. That cloak costume really got whatever we paid for that, $15.99 at the fucking Payless or whatever.
Halloween City.
Halloween.
Pop-up.
Oh, it was
Spirit.
Spirit.
Spirit,
Yeah,
yeah.
we paid $15.99 at Spirit, got our money's worth. That
Okay.
thing was itchy. What about you?
I was a gypsy a lot of years running because it was an easy costume.
Ugh,
like,
man, Humboldt just hates those gypsies.
costume jewelry. Well, I could just put on all the costume jewelry I owned, and then just like a shirt and a skirt.
That sounds
and be
right.
Done.
That's a gypsy costume.
And then my other favorite costume was a mouse.
No, that's cute.
My mom
That's
made a mouse. She would in our early costumes, she would sew our costumes for us. So I was a mouse, and she made me like a little jumper thing, and got to paint my nose.
Oh, also, that reminds me, one year I was a pumpkin, which was, again, a big orange costume and then a little hat.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a good one. See, that's the best part about Halloween is that it grows up with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you can make whatever you want. And I love everything about it. I love, I think people like to divide it into two camps. There's girls who wear like a big overstuffed pajamas and with like I'm a mouse, and it's slouchy mouse, and then there's sexy mouse, where it's like a mini skirt and gray mini skirt. I love them both, and I think they're both just as good as the other one, right? Whatever you want to do, whoever you are, whoever you want to be, do it. You know what I mean? So you can be sexy pumpkin, sexy
Or sexy
gypsy,
M&M.
sexy M&M.
I've always wanted to do sexy Ernest Hemingway.
Ooh.
Elaborate.
With some short shorts.
And then with
Some
Christy,
shorty shorts, big bushy beard. I think a woman should do this though. Short, full sexy outfit, and then just big bushy beard, white hair,
And then-
cigar, glass of whiskey.
and then
Ernest
the
Hemingway, sexy Ernest Hemingway.
Hemingway was the that was on Walden Pond. Okay, interesting.
That's what you're thinking of Whitman, but Hemingway was the alcoholic who was a contemporary of F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Yeah, The Sun Also Rises.
Went to
Yeah, I
Cuba.
hate that movie.
Went to
Yeah.
Tangier.
I mean
that book.
Went
Hate
to
that book.
Tangiers for a bit. So
Has a house in Key West. Key West.
I think so.
He
Yeah.
would. I like to see this outfit. I would like to see this outfit.
Sexy Ernest Hemingway.
Sexy. Do it. So sexy. As we go into this Halloween season, we've talked about this a million times on this podcast, and today will be no exception. What do you want out of horror when you watch a horror movie? What are you looking for? Start with Kev.
I want it to be scary, but it depends on the mood I'm in. I think there's a different kind of scary. I think there's a fun, entertaining scary, kind of like haunted house style, where it's like, ooh.
So full of jump scares
Scary.
and false seeing yourself in the mirror and cats coming out of trash cans.
Exactly. It's like that. That's the fun scary. But then there's also the visceral scary or the cerebral scary that I also really enjoy. But I kind of have to be in more of a mood for that kind of scary.
Like Martyrs.
So, yeah, like The Witch. Yeah, that's all I get.
See, because if this podcast was nothing but horror, we could do Martyrs, we could do The Witch. Oh, it would be such a grand time. And what do you look for in horror? What do you like? You are someone who does not necessarily like to be scared.
No.
I would not say that you're a horror fan.
No.
But you love the Scream franchise.
I do.
And you do, I would argue, like slasher movies.
I do like slasher movies. Okay, here's the thing.
I'm listening.
You know how Kev likes to be scared?
Yeah.
I don't like to be scared.
Ah.
So when I look for a horror movie, I guess I want it to be smart. I want it to be like interesting and like intelligently plotted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I like it upon like subsequent viewings. Because I know
So the first one's the worst one.
The first one is the worst one. The first one is always going to be the one that I dislike watching the most because I don't know what's happening. But I think that I will like it more as time goes on and if I rewatch it, so that I know.
So hopefully that movie today will become a staple in our house now. I will say I do like scary, and I do like smart. I don't need scary, and I don't need smart. Mm-hmm. I really like macabre stuff is what I really like. That I like a menacing visual, and not necessarily like scary, but just like, you know, like what comes to mind is like in Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, just like, you know, there's like Michael Myers through some blinds just staring at the girl, you know, like that. I love that kind of shit. Just like I love, right? There's a real maniacal edge.
Yeah.
So I don't need it to be. I don't need it because I feel like a lot of internet stuff is about like, oh, this movie isn't scary, and it's like if you wanna like, you know, piss your pants, like fucking take up auto racing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't need it to be. I don't need to always be on the edge of my seat.
And there is a lot of great filmmaking done in horror movies too. So I always search for that of like they're like camera techniques and lighting techniques that like only lend themselves to horror.
Right.
But you can see a director really think about these kind of things and do it. So.
And I think that horror gets a bad rep for all the jumbo horror that exists, you know, which I don't understand. And I think it's because fear is an unpleasant sensation, so people kind of like it's, you know, like when you go for a job interview or you take a test, right? You're always like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, blah blah blah, and you literally have feelings like that, right? So you associate those with negativity, even though it's not that level of stakes. And the same thing with like when you love someone or when you like someone, right? It's like even if that person is a total shithead, it's like because you like them, you associate that relationship with good because love is good.
Yeah.
I feel like horror can be like that, where people are, because it's scary and being scared is unpleasant by its very nature. They're like, oh yeah, I don't like horror. I only like good horror. It's like, well, no shit, motherfucker. Like who says I like film noirs, but really only the garbage ones. Yeah. Like, no, of course everyone what you like you think is good. But horror is the only genre you have to defend when you say you like it, right? Exactly. If I say I like action movies, people are like, oh, you like you know some fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme movie straight to Blu-ray? Like, no. You know, I like good shit. So
well, and it's interesting like to hear you talk about that because I think that fear is universal.
Yes.
I think that a lot, I mean, obviously it depends on like what makes you scared, but ultimately it's a life and death situation because people are dying and, you know, and that our mortality is universal. So it's interesting when you compare them of like what people think is good, you know, because I think the horror genre does get like marginalized and like put down, but really the concepts that they're working with are like universal.
But I agree with you.
And they're cheap and they make money.
Yep.
That's why they keep churning them.
Wake up, Hollywood! I think fear is something that everyone deals with every day. Not necessarily the fear of death, which I do think people deal with more than we talk about, right? But like, and I think there's a denial of this, right? And I think to get political, something like religion is created to deal with that fear, that anxiety of living, right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Is my life meaningful? You know, and then the little things, when someone cuts you off, right, and you get angry, it's like you're angry because you're afraid because you could have gotten hurt, right? It's all our monkey brains. And film ups that stake, so it's like maybe you know, fucking Friday the 13th isn't about how you're anxious about your retirement fund, but it taps into that kind of anxiety, and it ups it in a filmatic way where it's about life and death. So I'd say horror is the one and only true genre.
I don't agree, but okay.
Fair enough. So our first horror movie of the season, kicking us off, Dream a Little Nightmare of Me, 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. What a great tagline.
That's a good one. This one had a few that I had to look up. That one really stuck, though.
There's in the episodes that I wrote this time, there was no shortage of great taglines, and there's one movie in particular where there was no shortage of taglines.
Can't wait. Can't wait to see.
Can't wait either. Written and directed by Wes Craven.
The late great Wes Craven.
Starring John Saxon, Roni Blakely,
Ronnie?
Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp in his film debut, and Robert Englund in a role that defined his career. Produced and distribution, New Line Entertainment, the house that Freddie built.
This movie did save them from total bankruptcy.
And eventually they were bought by Warner Brothers, where they currently reside.
Yes, they did. Yes,
Warner
they were.
Brothers. If you're not familiar, a group of suburbanite kids try to stay alive when a creepy serial killer shows up in their dreams and starts picking them off one by one. Craven first came up with the concept after reading an LA Times article about a group of Southeast Asian refugees escaping the regime of Pol Pot. One of the refugees refused to sleep due to terrifying nightmares. His family, tried to help him out. They gave him sleeping pills. They sent him to counseling and stuff. One day he fell asleep, woke up screaming, and died.
It's crazy.
That's horrible.
Terrifying.
No heart attack, no nothing, just dead. In the closet, what do they find? What do they find? A coffee machine? All of the sleeping pills his family gave him.
Oh.
He was actively trying to stay awake forever. Because he knew, and this is what Wes Craven loved about the story, because he loved the idea that someone knew if they went to sleep, they would die. And just that dichotomy of like how that is just like an impossible thing to fight.
Yeah.
This movie, shot in 30 days on a budget of $1.8 million, half of which reportedly came from a rich Yugoslavian gentleman.
Who just wanted to get into the movies, reportedly. So,
The film
there you
went
go.
over like gangbusters at the box office, single-handedly saving New Line Cinema from bankruptcy. Single-clawed-handedly, yes!
Got it.
Did it. You guys, let's turn this off. Freddy Krueger went on to star in various sequels and spin-offs, as well as a remake starring Jackie Earle Haley. No one could really ever top Robert Englund, and no one could really, in my opinion, ever top this first movie. Although I hear number 3, Dream Warriors, is very good, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger voted 40th in AFI's 100 Years, 100 Heroes and Villains. On the villain side, of course. Freddy Krueger proceeded to keep an entire generation up at night afraid to sleep. What the shark did to Waters and Jaws, he did to kids going to bed.
Oh.
And I love that idea is so great. Like, he's like the real life boogeyman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What a great villain idea.
And such a different concept of like, so many, every other villain we've had was a physical being who could just overpower you and just kill you in real life. This was the first one that got you in a way that you couldn't avoid, and he had a much wider swath of powers than what other people had.
Which, by the way, this is interesting, and we'll get to this in a minute. Emily has never seen A Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is going to be fun.
And to my conversation with her, I feel like does not have a grasp on the franchise. Not a cultural awareness of it. We'll get into this in a minute.
I know nothing.
But I'm very excited for this, you guys. Fun fact! Robert Englund auditioned for the role of Han Solo in Star Wars, but was considered too young, quote unquote. He had heard the lead was a teenager, so he told the teenager who was crashing on his couch about the role. And that person was
Harrison Ford?
Mark Hamill.
Oh.
Mark Hamill crashing on Robert Englund's couch. No way.
Wow.
Also, let's start a petition. Let's get Robert into the new Star Wars movie. I don't care. It could be a numbered one. It could be a spin-off. It doesn't matter. But Robert Englund in Star Wars, this just makes sense.
Just needs to happen, as far as I'm concerned. Do it.
Let him happen.
Do it, Kathleen Kennedy.
Nightmare available on Blu-ray and DVD in various formats. Digital HD purchases streaming on Fandango now. For all of you who have Fandango now, this is your opportunity.
Flaunt it.
Kev, have you seen this film?
Heard of the franchise? Have seen this movie. First time I watched it in the basement of my buddy's house in Spokane. We were probably 20. Had a couple brews. we watched both Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th back to back.
Perfect.
That was
Perfect.
my first time I remember it.
But as we realized, Friday the 13th, that first one, rough.
It has not
See
held up.
episode last year when we did this for Spooky Cinema. Very good. I never saw the first one, I think, until I was maybe after college. It was never on TV. Not in as we've talked about, not on the USA Network at least.
Yep.
And all of the Bobo sequels were on, right? I think I've seen
Yeah.
Freddy 5 and 4 a couple of times, but it took me a long time. I saw it. It might have been on Netflix, or I might have gotten the disc to Netflix. I loved it the first time I saw it. I thought it was great, and really turned me on to Wes Craven as a filmmaker.
For
So,
sure. And I definitely knew about Freddy Krueger
Yes.
before
Yeah.
I had seen it.
Freddy was a known quantity.
There were some NES games that were not good that he was part of.
They were definitely not
They
good.
were, like many 80s NES games based off of movies, not very well made.
No.
So, none at all.
So, Emily,
Yes.
we've established you've never seen this movie.
No.
People didn't talk about Freddy. There wasn't any like people
No.
dressing up as Freddy, people talking about Freddy, people talking about Halloween and Freddy.
No. There was no talk.
No,
Do-
no old man in a striped shirt in the neighborhood.
No,
just
there
walking
was
around.
the only thing that I remember. The only thing I remember is that you had these little toys from college,
I
and
did.
they were like as big as my palm,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like
There's Leatherface, there's Jason,
uh-huh.
and there was
Freddy.
Freddy.
Krueger.
Yeah. So that's all I remember. And then I do remember there was an episode of Bones, and Robert Englund is on the episode of Bones. He's like he plays a creepy shop teacher or whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, look at him, he's so cute. 'Cause he's really, I think he's really a cute guy.
This
Yeah.
guy could really go places if he tried.
Uh-huh. And then you were like, oh, it's Freddy. He's a horror guy. And I was like, what? So then that made the all the nuances of what they were doing in the episode a little bit more clear. But I still had no idea.
When I first moved to LA, I worked on a film shoot with a girl who was a little bit older than me, and she was an actress, and she had met Robert Englund, and she's like, he's the nicest guy in the world, but I could not talk to him. And I was like, why? He's like, because he was literally my nightmares
Oh.
from age 10 to 30, and I'm
But
like, what? 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm looking forward to this
It's
just
so
so
inter-
that I know what.
Do you think all of
happen.
Humboldt doesn't know about this horror icon, or is it just your little bubble?
I'm sure it was my bubble. I mean, I never liked horror movies. My horror
And then-
movies was there would be one on when I was at a sleepover, and then I'd go in the kitchen and have whoever's mom brush my hair.
This happened multiple times?
Yes.
In what movies were we talking about? Amityville?
No, it was the only one I remember is Anaconda.
The Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez masterpiece. Anaconda.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What in that movie?
Co-starring
Do you remember
John
what set you
Voight.
off? Like, I
No,
can't do this
just
anymore.
The snake,
Was it when it horked up John Voight and he's like half digested? That part was nasty.
maybe.
I feel like you would have been gone by
I
then.
didn't get very far into it.
To be
I
fair,
was
you
like-
really don't like snakes.
I really don't like snakes. And then there was the one with the TV and the girl in the hair.
The Ring.
Yes.
The Ring. So,
And I stopped with that one too.
well, there you go.
And I escaped.
Also, are you gonna be in town on the 22nd?
No.
Damn it.
I'll probably be out.
The Cine family is playing The Ringu, The Grudge, Udon The Grudge, and then the one that they fight each
the
other.
team up one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to get people to go to that, but
I might be out of town for that one.
my life it's burdened by my inability to watch movies in the theater. Are you a fan of supernatural horror, or do you like it gritty?
Neither.
I say both. Kev.
I definitely like both. I think
Yeah.
supernatural horror, especially in this day and age, they get way too CGI heavy with it, and they do stuff that they think is creepy, and it's not really creepy at all.
Well-
like that new Ouija trailer with like the girl, like her mouth is elongated and her eyes go white.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
love that image though.
It's not scary.
Not sure.
It just looks bobo. It
It's
just
what-
looks dumb.
It's macabre. Also, that is a concept for a Ouija movie though, right?
Yeah.
Where she's
that should have been the first Ouija movie.
yeah, it should have been. So the concept for you and our listeners is that the Ouija, by the way, in theaters October 20th, is that the Ouija board. So there's a woman, and she has some kids, and she's a fake psychic, and she's
Okay.
like, so she cons people. She's a con
Yeah.
artist, and she gets a Ouija board, which is a toy, a real life toy, just like it is in our world, right?
Yeah.
And you get in the toy section from Target, and then it turns out that her house is haunted, and that the creatures are using the Ouija board to possess her daughter.
Oh.
Ouija in theaters, October 21st. Kev, we know that Emily isn't familiar with the franchise of Freddy. Are you familiar with the franchise of Freddy, and what's your view on it?
This is definitely, I've only ever seen the first movie all the way through.
Yeah.
And I've seen clips of Freddy versus Jason. Thought it looked terrible.
Who's Jason?
Jason's from Friday the 13th.
With the hockey
The
mask.
machete wielding hockey mask dude.
Okay.
They made a team up movie with them.
I'll just say, okay.
Freddy versus Jason.
Which, by the way, is a very fun idea.
Fun idea.
Are they
but
fighting each other, or are they going out? Are they a team of two who go after?
In the
I
movie-
kind of wish the movie had answered that question.
The concept is that Freddy uses, because everyone forgets about him, Freddy,
Uh-huh.
right? And he loses power if you don't know he exists.
Okay.
Which is ironic because that's like his fate, right? Because if he's come back to kill people, eventually he'll kill them all and then no one will know who he is. So he's using Jason to make people think about him, and then
Huh.
eventually they start to fight. Also, one of the girls from Destiny's Child is in there and uses
Yeah.
some gay slurs against Freddy.
it is cringe worthy.
Right, which is
It is
in
not-
very, very bad taste.
Also, was there a Freddy versus Jason maze at Halloween Horror Nights? this
There
year?
was a Freddy vs. Jason maze at Halloween Horror Nights, and it was fantastic.
All right, good to know.
It was one of the better ones. Krampus, also very good. Exorcist,
I'm
very good.
disappointed to hear that that one wasn't good.
Yeah.
Bummer.
next year. For online passes. You in?
I'm down.
Spent $170. Don't tell my girlfriend. So, he's a horror... you consider him a horror icon?
Absolutely.
And if you consider him a horror icon, how can we ever watch these films, Kev?
Yeah, it's just we'll get into it.
Okay,
We're gonna
okay.
do with this one.
I do think that shitty sequels do diminish good movies, you know what I mean? I think eventually people forget, but sometimes there's a stigma that kind of reigns on it, and eventually it turns into, I like, the first one's good, but the rest of them are crap, you know what I mean? Like The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Perfect example.
Exactly.
But, I like Freddy. I don't like where they take the series. I don't like the explanation that they give in later series of how he comes to be and, his backstory. I think the two best lore ones are the first one and then Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is not a great movie, but I think lore-wise is really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
If not, huh? I'd recommend
So
it.
I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Wes Craven says, horror movies don't create fear, it releases them. Emily, do you agree?
No. Not at all. That's why we can't. That's why, there's a movie that looks scary, but I won't go see it in theaters because I don't want.
Don't Breathe?
Yes, that one. Because I want to be able to watch it, a mid-morning. With the
Sunshine
with
coming in.
sunshine and the lights
little
on,
cup of coffee
and my
and
cup of coffee. Yeah, exactly. And I like that, but no, absolutely they create fear. They're terrifying. End of story.
Okay. I would say, okay, you want to weigh in on this?
I think there are definitely fears we all deal with inside us, and then the horror movies can amplify certain parts of that. And then that's why they hit us in such a... Well, that's why the good ones hit us in such a visceral way, I think.
I think so, but I think first of all, I think his perspective is from the perspective of a horror fan, right? I think if you're not a horror fan, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So as a horror fan, as we are, and Emily is not, I think what you're saying, it is true for what you're saying. It taps into something that we all fear, right? And it makes a piece of art and a story around that. Mm-hmm. But there's a reassuring element to that of hey, there's some people else in the world understand what you feel. You know what I mean? Because I think that's the thing in life that you always go through. Right? When something bad happens to you, you feel alone, which is ridiculous because of all of the billions of people who have ever existed, the chances of you discovering a new thing that you've ever gone through is ridiculous. That's not true, right?
It can't happen.
Right. Everything that bad that can happen to you in your life has happened to someone else before. So I think that's kind of what I take from this quote is that these things are universal, and there's a reassurance in that. That being said, I think we've all watched a movie and been like, gone to sleep with the lights on, or double checked a couple times to make sure the door's locked.
Check the closets and under the bed
Always.
that a person couldn't fit under, but you're still gonna look.
They're still gonna look though.
But I do think that a lot of horror movies, especially the best ones, are an attempt to understand something. Anxiety.
Yeah, there should be some kind of arc and some kind of theme of what is this fear manifesting, and what universal human thing is it talking about? So,
And on that deep philosophical note, I think we should take a little pause and watch this movie.
here we go.
Here we go. And we're back.
We're back.
Yay.
We're back.
Yes.
Kev, me, Kev. How'd you watch this when you watch this?
Amazon rental, $3.99, I believe. for
HD?
HD.
Very good.
Of course, HD. Come on.
Right.
Who am I? HD enthusiast.
Well, sometimes it's not available for some bizarre
Sometimes,
reason.
yeah. Sometimes not. So, watched it mostly at work. Watched that first hour at work.
Oh.
Finished it at home. Our work has a smart TV. I hooked up all my accounts to it. I can watch shit.
So on your lunch break, were people bummed out by this choice, or?
No, you had a few people come in and be like, "Ooh, Nightmare on Elm Street." And kind
Ooh.
of sat and watched with me.
Received
so,
well.
yeah.
Received well.
Oh, good.
We'll talk about how.
That's because it was midday.
It was midday.
We'll talk about how you received this, Em, right after you tell us how me and you watch it together.
We watched it on our couch with all the lights on.
Oh, that's nice.
DVD?
DVD.
Well, not a Blu-ray.
I don't think so.
No, yeah, from the library.
Yep.
Very cool.
Library, kids. Library.
It's free.
Let's just fucking get into it. What did we think? I'm gonna start. What a fucking great movie this is.
This movie
Loved it.
is all kinds of fun in a very unique way. I think this movie is very distinctive from other horror films. And we'll get into that as we proceed in our conversation here.
Emily, overall thoughts?
I liked that it was dated because that made it safer.
You like that Johnny Depp feathered hair, huh?
I
You
did.
love that
I-
Johnny Depp feathered
And,
crop top.
Yep, and a little crop top, and the acid wash jeans.
It was weird. I didn't see him as him. I didn't see him. It was hard to reconcile who he is now, how he looks,
Yep.
with how he looks as a
And,
young.
and how he looks now would be a drunk French pirate,
Yes.
and how he looked then would be a average suburban.
fresh-faced kid.
Well,
Yeah.
he's definitely changed the way he speaks because I didn't even recognize any of his
Yep.
any of his vocal mannerisms. So it was very jarring.
I would like to say this is a strange movie. If I lived in a bubble, if I was Emily and I had no cultural context for this movie,
Yeah.
I would not think that this would be everyone's favorite horror movie that lit a whole generation aside. It's very artsy. It's strange. You do not know what to dream and what's not a dream. You don't know if the whole thing's a dream. You don't know if the whole thing's in a dream world. You don't know if the whole thing's in the real world. You don't know if it goes back and forth. The movie doesn't give a fuck about you.
It always keeps you off center.
Yeah, there's no. We are now in a dream. We are out of the dream world. You know what I mean? It's blurred. And I think this movie very, very well captures a nightmare logic, right? Like when you're in a nightmare, when you're in a dream, it captures that thing where stuff starts to slide away from you and get away from you a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you don't know if they're waking, if they're asleep. You know, there's the whole concept of a waking dream kind of going on.
You kept saying they have to be dreaming right now. They're in the dream world, right?
Well, yeah, but then I also was saying no. I mean, I think yes, but also I was saying that he has to be the nightmare, because his claws would show up and things like that when somebody was kind of drifting off to sleep. So I'm like, okay, he's the nightmare and he comes out of their dreams, and I just didn't understand. I didn't understand any of what was going on.
Well, it's very interesting. So you don't understand the movie?
No, I understood the movie. I'm just saying when I was watching it, I didn't understand where how he realistically existed.
Yes, and I think
That's
that's
what I'm saying.
very intentional, and it's very interesting. That's something I noticed on this viewing that I hadn't noticed on my previous ones was, so the movie starts, we're in Tina's nightmare, and it's also very interesting that it starts with Tina, and Tina is not the main character, and we kind of spend the first act having her be the main character, and then we switch to Heather Langenkamp after Tina is murdered,
Yeah.
which I think is a very bold choice and that people don't really talk about. So we start with Tina's dream. She's in like the industrial space. There's like sheep. There's that bright white background that kind of invokes a sense of pain, right? Like because it's like white, whatever. And then all this shit. She wakes up, and then they're driving to school, in their little red fucking 50s car.
Right.
And we cut to we start with the girls doing the little nursery rhyme, right? And it's like a slow motion, very dreamy. They're doing the little Freddy rhyme, and then we go into the kids in the real world, right? So that's a weird transition because in the movie's bookended by that, and then in the end of the movie, the same girls are jumping rope, singing the same song. Yep. So it's like, are those girls Freddy's presence? Are those girls evidence that we're in the dream world? Or those, you know what I mean? Like, and that is not explained. And I think that's an interesting, like, you have to kind of decide what that means to you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's almost like their voiceover of that.
Go on.
Just that they're like, they're just making it so that you're aware of the Freddy rhyme. You are like more unnerved because it's children. And they're just kind of reiterating the statement of who he is.
Right.
And like how creepy he is.
Right. And then does that calls us to like Freddy. I don't know. I feel like the way it's handled in the end kind of speaks to the idea that Freddy is not defeated and that Freddy is he's still there. He's won. Yeah. So it's like then in the beginning it's I don't know. It's an interesting bookend. What'd you make of that, Kev?
I mean, it's again just another technique to just always kind of keep you off balance. Because in every other horror movie we've seen, we kill the guy, and then we kind of have our little happy denouement, and then it sort of just ends. We might get a little stinger at the end, kind of Friday the 13th style, like, oh, Jason's still alive.
Right.
But then this one, they pull up in the car, she gets in the car, suddenly a roof comes up, and it gets you right there. The roof is Freddy's sweater, and it's like, oh, fuck, we are not gone yet. And then mom gets ripped through the window, car drives off, kids dancing, or playing jump rope.
Right.
It's just, that is such a nasty little stinger at the end of this movie of like, Freddy is not gone at all. In fact, he might even be more powerful.
Right. And what's interesting is, and I agree with everything you just said, in the script, they say, it's called out that every time there's stripes somewhere, that's Freddy's presence. So in everyone's bedroom, there's like a striped chair or like a striped shirt or like a striped whatever, you know what I mean? And so, and you see that in the movie, like when she runs into the hall monitor. Where's your hall pass? Screw your hall pass! And then that girl's wearing the Freddy
stripes.
So I like that idea that Freddy is like omnipresent through the whole movie. Like in Johnny Depp's room, there's a poster it's an actual real poster for a band's album. It's a black hand in a white circle and with a red square, which is very Freddy iconography, right? The hand, the red. You know what I mean? Stripes.
Okay.
So all about.
I think there's this idea that Freddy is the boogeyman. The boogeyman is omnipresent, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
And he can get you anywhere.
Even in the bathtub that makes itself into a lake.
Oh man, Emily,
so good.
Emily loved / hated that scene.
Is that not just one of like not even just an iconic horror shot, an iconic movie shot? That clawed hand coming out of the tub when she's asleep. It's terrible. Like, that is so
Which
good.
is really interesting because she's singing the Freddy song right then, but at that point in the movie, she doesn't know who Freddy is.
Yeah.
And it's it's an interesting choice. And I don't think that's a mistake. I think it's deliberate. She's singing the song, and then the hand comes up, and then later she learns who Fred Krueger is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she's falling asleep. She falls, she closes her eyes, kind of drifts off. Then the hand comes up. Mom knocks on the door. She wakes up and the hand comes down. And there's a really good parallel there.
Well, and like the hand comes up in between her legs. So I'm like, oh God, her lady parts.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Ugh.
It's not quite Slither status, but
But
I don't know what that is, and I don't think I want to.
You should watch Slither sometime.
Does it have anything to do with snakes? Because did we talk about
Slugs.
Anaconda? Oh, even worse.
Slugs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It's totally not gonna happen.
When we do Slither next year, Emily will be like, "See you fucking assholes later."
pretty much.
Not participating.
I think that and then that scene, the way that scene ends, right, where she gets pulled underwater, and then the mom is knocking on the door, and then she gets out, and she plays it off as if it was a dream, but we don't know if it happened. We think, because it's a movie and we saw it happen, we think it happened, but did it really happen?
No, because there's not a lake underneath the bathtub.
But what if there is?
It was,
What if there is in Freddy's world? And we're just looking at it?
So I think we've gotten to the point where it's interesting because this movie gives you no context for Freddy's powers and how they work, which we alluded to earlier. We know from the sequels that he is the Dream Master. So what happened was when the parents burned, and they don't get into it in this movie, when the parents burned him, these demons came to him and they offered him his revenge.
okay.
So they let him be the master of dreams. So he is in the dream world. Then there's the real world, and he has the ability to kind of blend them together.
Ah.
So he can like modify the world and pull you into the dream world when you fall asleep. You know, and so it's kind of like
So that's how the lake beneath the bathtub
one would
exists?
argue, but there's no context for that in this movie.
No.
So it's just a surreal image.
Yes.
Lots of jump scares in this movie. This podcast is my defense against jump scares. There's some cheap ones, like when Rod tackles Johnny Depp when they hear something out there.
Yeah. You know, they always have to have those ones early in the horror movie where it's like, oh man, what's that? Ah, Rod. Always that.
Also,
every horror movie.
Rod is such a fucking wiener.
Yes, he is.
And Tina, what's great though is like Tina is not really dating Rod; she's just fucking him. And also, how old is Rod?
He certainly looks like he's like 26 or 27.
Well, all of the actors are like, you know, 26,
Some
27.
of them look older than others.
But I do. It's interesting because I do. It's an interesting thing where she's like, protect me from this maniac who I'm gonna fuck. You know, and it's an interesting. Like Tina is like, you know, she is horny, and I don't think the movie's really judging her for it, which is nice. I think that in a lot of the most iconic horror movies, they're not really judging the kids for being teenagers.
Yeah.
I think in the lesser ones, it starts becoming like a morality clause.
Yeah, I think it's something they kind of stole from Halloween and took it in a way that I don't think it was ever intended to go, where it's like only the pure virgin girl is the one who's gonna live.
Which we are going to watch Halloween for this round of Halloween celebrations.
Yep.
Halloween. But to my recollection of that movie, they're not not making a distinction in that way that like, fuck these sluts and this girl is the best one, right? These girls are smart and these girls are kind of dumb.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what I'm saying. It's like, even in that movie, because John Carpenter isn't like a, you know, he's like a 70s, 60s liberal weirdo, you know what I mean? Bell-bottom pants. He's not. So it's interesting how that got taken in context in the 80s.
Sure.
Only 4 real kills in this movie.
But you remember all of them though.
Okay, name them.
Girl gets thrown onto the ceiling, thrashed around.
Yeah, Tina on the ceiling.
Tina on the ceiling gets sliced open. You got the kid gets hung in the jail.
Rod's suicide.
Rod
Fake
gets
suicide.
Fake suicide from the sheets. Johnny Depp gets eaten by his bed, and his blood and organs spray onto the ceiling.
Oh, I forgot about that.
How could you ever forget that image? That's like one of the clawed hand, and then the bed just spewing blood.
My eyes might have been closed. And what was the?
And then there's the mom at the end who gets dragged through the window.
See, I forgot about the mom too.
Oh, the mom also gets killed when Freddy's on fire, and he's like, molesting, raping her.
Yep.
With flame.
Yep.
Remember, he's on top of her, and then they throw the
Freddy's
blanket
on
over,
fire,
and then
she jumps on
it's her
top.
skeleton, and then she disappears to the bed.
No, I forgot about that too.
All right.
Well,
I swear I watched it, but I guess I just did not closely watch it.
There's a weird religious thing going on in this movie that I really like. Again, not specifically talked about. Tina has her nightmare. She wakes up, the crucifix falls off the bed, and she's holding it. And then when she's fucking Rod in apparently her mother's room, because Nancy's sleeping in her room, the crucifix falls off again, and then Freddy comes through the wall.
Yeah.
And that iconic
Oh,
image.
that's terrifying.
I know, right? Oh, so good. That's what I like. That's what I like in horror movies. Is that macabre, like, he's just stretching through the wall. So good. So it's interesting, right? Like, is that a statement? The crucifix keeps falling down. You know, there's with the ending in the nihilistic ending, there's no justice. You know what I mean? Like there's an interesting. I don't know, like Freddy says, apropos of nothing, this is your god, and he brings up his claw. He says that line, and then when Tina's being killed, she's like, God help me, oh my God, I'm being killed, God help me, and no God comes to help her.
Yeah,
she just dies. So I feel like in a lot of ways he's commenting on religion, but without having any characters have to actually talk about it.
True.
And
I didn't get a whole lot of that on this viewing, to tell you the truth.
That's fair.
Now you say it, there's certain things, but I don't think it's overt.
It's definitely not overt.
It's not overt in the way it is in Don't Breathe, which is all about like the loss of religion and how you deal with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's very obvious crucifix things on the wall that have been taken off.
And not spoilers, but a character says, like,
when
there is no
when
God.
man forgets God, man can do anything.
Right.
Is what he says.
Right.
So
I think there's an interesting, and also Wes Craven grew up religious in a house that was very oppressively religious, so he's not a religious person.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a statement being made there.
Funny how that works.
Indeed. And I wanted to kind of wait to get into this, but I think there's an interesting read on this movie, and it kind of dovetails here, where how do you interpret not the plot, but the story of Freddy, right? So the parents say there's a guy killing children. Originally in the script he was molesting children and killing them, but they took that out because it was too much. It's a fucking horror movie, people. Yeah. I don't know. But so he's killing kids. They find him because a judge messes up, or a cop messes up on the search warrant. He walks free. They take justice in their own hands, kill him. Then he comes back and starts killing the kids, right?
Okay.
So you can take that literally, but I don't know if that is necessarily how we're supposed to take it.
Go on.
So there's a number of ways to interpret this. Like Freddy he's seeking revenge, right? And so you can say, so if you're you can say, the kids become the victim of the generation above them, right? They're paying for the sins of their parents, which is how society works, right? Like you have to fix the problems of the last generation. It's called progress, right? So one could argue, if he's taking his revenge on them, maybe they did the wrong thing, right? Because we're getting the story from a drunk who feels very guilty. She keeps a trophy of her kill. She has his claw in there. We don't know if that's a dream sequence or not. We assume it's not because...
Yeah.
But it's like, so is the movie saying it wasn't the wrong line was signed on the search warrant? Was it he didn't fucking do this and they killed him? They killed an innocent man, and now an innocent man is coming back to take revenge on the children, and they have to defend themselves? Is that what's being said? There's a lot of things in the movies that don't support that, like Freddy killing people, like Freddy cutting himself and doing like serial killery kind of shit.
I mean, he had a glove with knives on it, so I wouldn't say that's the token of an innocent man.
Well, but
that's true.
But we never see a live Freddy.
It's true.
With the knife, right? We only see burnt Freddy with the knife and stuff. And that opening scene where someone's creating a knife, it's interesting because unlike the rest of the movie, it's a smaller square above. Like the screen is split, right? That's a smaller square and above, and then below is like all the credits, right? Yeah. So it's like, what are we seeing? Is this real? So then how do you interpret that scene, right? Because this is a objective frame, is this real and everything else is the dream world? Is this fake? Is this the story and everything else is real that we see after it? You have to decide. And I think it goes both ways. You know what I mean?
I just thought it was him. Like, I just thought it was somebody making his claw,
Right.
And I just didn't. It was just like to get me into the mood of like, this is how he's.
I think it's definitely a flavor scene, but there's that interpretation of what exactly is that the story that the parents tell the kids about Freddy? Is it what actually happened and he was this maniacal person? It's all, they give you just enough to kind of, they plant the seed in your brain.
Right. And everyone, there's also implications here, right? So the mom says all of the parents trapped Freddy in the thing and killed him.
Right.
So that means her dad, who is the sheriff. Mm-hmm. That means Johnny Depp's parents, who are like fucking, like if you had a picture in the dictionary of parents from the 80s, it would be them, right? Old mom and fat dad.
Yep.
So these people are all murderers. And they're not listening to their kids. And when someone is killing a teenager and there's all these slash marks, they completely close. You think the dad would be like, I've seen the way Tina was killed. I've seen this before. This is how Fred Krueger used to kill. They don't. Everyone is. So are these people in denial? Is this story not true?
For whatever reason, I never connected any of the other parents with the act of killing Freddy. I only connected the mom.
Because
so I was like, okay, in my mind, it was like a PTA got together and decided to do this. But
hi everyone, we're gonna kill Freddy tonight.
Will you
Doris
please?
Doris brought brownies.
But they're gluten free. Thank you, Doris.
Not in the 80s, they weren't. So.
Well, if they were now, they would be. But so I never really connected like any of the male parents, and certainly not Johnny Depp's parents, with people who had committed that act.
she says something to the effect of, and it's said. There's no musical sting on it. She doesn't have an emphasis on it. She's just telling the story in her drunk monotone. And I think she says something to the effect of, all of the people from the neighborhood got together and we murdered this dude. You know? So it's like, presumably, she doesn't name, presumably it's everyone that we've met so far.
Yep. We can only assume.
And then the other interpretation is like the literal interpretation that he's out to destroy innocence. No one can protect you. He flicks his tongue at him. He says gross things sexually to her. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. Not throwing her under the bus, baby. But when that scene happened and the phone turned into a tongue, Emily, Kev is sitting on the edge of a, what do you call this?
A chaise lounge.
A chaise lounge. Emily jumped all the way to the back of the kitchen on the couch.
I was not expecting that to happen. It was terrible.
Clearly.
That's one of the things I really love about this movie and noted on this recent viewing. They never used the same gag twice. In terms of how Freddy scares, what his powers are. It's like, the first one, big one we see is like the arms stretching out. He has like really long, crazy arms.
Yeah.
Then it's like...
Which, by the way, looks like shit. Go ahead.
It doesn't look good. But then you get like the stairs disintegrating. You know, when she's walking up.
Oh,
kind of
that got you too.
Yeah.
And then you get...
You were like...
And then you get the tub that's a bottomless lake. You get the tongue in the phone. It's like, blah. You get the elastic wall. It's like they use every kind of fun little funhouse trick in a way that really like integrates into the world. Like it doesn't ever really feel like it's just tacked on there. And they do it so well each time. But yeah, you never know where the terror is going to come from.
And I'm not trying to make fun of you, Em. And I agree with everything Kev is saying. And you're completely right. 100% right. But and also seeing it through your eyes for the first time, though, it was like a roller coaster sitting next to me.
Well, yeah, because I like, when I watch horror movies, I like security in thinking that nothing is going to happen right now. Because, like, whenever they were in a dream sequence with, like, the furnace room, I was like, okay, dead end. He's going to jump out. So, like, I'll look to the lower right hand of the screen where I know he's not going to be. Yeah. And then the music can go, and then he can jump out, and then I can look at him, you know? Versus, because they didn't repeat anything other than really the furnace, like dead ends.
Yeah.
Then I didn't know where not to look, and then I was looking, and then I regretted looking, and
even the
and
phone
the
can
phone
get
wasn't
you.
safe.
Right.
I mean,
There's that great shot of the tree, and he comes out from behind it, but only like from that half of the tree he pops out.
Yeah, it's a thin branch.
Yep.
That's the thing, is that because he has these dream powers, it's like he can hide behind a narrow tree. A bathtub could be like an ocean.
It's very surreal in that way.
Yeah, which I like.
Where the world can change.
So.
Oh, sorry. One last in my did Freddy do this or not? Sleep is a lack of awareness, and you have to waking up. In terms of an analogy, right? Sleep is following the herd and whatever, and waking up and being awake is awareness, right?
Right.
So like in a Zen kind of Eastern idea, right? It's like Nancy is a teenager. She's growing up. She forces herself to be awake and see the world for what it is, which is like this terrible, bad place. And so it's like going into adulthood is seeing the evil of the world, or at best seeing its incompetence that you didn't know as a kid. Right. So a lot of these different interpretations, I think there's a you could see it, which is why I think this is a fantastic fucking movie, because you could read it as completely nihilistic, or you could read it as not. You could say like it's about injustice, it's about justice, it's about bad people trying to hurt good people, it's about bad people hurting a good person who makes them into a bad person who turns good people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many ways to read it. And I think all of them are valid and all of them have support and not support in the movie, in the text.
Yes.
And then surreal horror imagery, which is also super fun. Love it. What do you guys think about Nancy, like, learning a bunch of Viet Cong tricks for the ending, where she's, like, stuffing light bulbs full of gunpowder and...
If it worked for the Viet Cong, it can work for you too. Those are just, low budget little booby traps, but they can work. So
I guess in the world of the 80s where there's no internet, it's like, how else would you defend yourself? You go to the library and check out a book like that.
go read a book. Read a book.
Kind of reminded me of Home Alone.
Yeah, it definitely turned into Home Alone at the end, which is I think bizarre, but also kind of super fun.
Yeah, I like
it. Keeps in the spirit of the movie. It doesn't feel like it's this wacky sequence that they kind of plop down all of a sudden.
Well,
it still rolls with the story.
And she has agency. She's trying to protect herself.
Right.
And I like that that's better than her hiding in a closet and waiting. You know, I like that she took matters into her own hands.
Indeed. And as we wrap up this podcast, is there anything in this movie that just did not work for you guys? Like, not like it's a nitpick, not like it's like this does not work for me.
It's pretty solid all the way through. There's no bad performances. There's no questionable editing or directing choices, I don't think.
I'd say that Nancy is a little uneven. In the beginning, she's like, everyone dreams, Tina. And it's like, are you just saying these words phonetically? Do you know what they mean? But then later, I feel like she gets really good. Like, when she's talking to Rod in jail, she's doing really good. And I think as the movie progresses, Screw Your Hall Pass, super good. Anything for you, babe?
No, nothing.
I'd say that I can see how someone can have a problem with the Home Alone sequence, and as Freddy is like ultimate Mr. Nightmare boogeyman for a whole generation of people, it's interesting how the girl does have so much agency over him, and she's able to hurt him.
They established though that she discovers how to bring him into the real world because she gets his hat during the sleep science
Doctor,
sequence.
What are dreams? Well, any nitpicks? Anything that's tiny? The first time we see Freddy chasing Tina, he's flailing his arms like a Looney Tune character.
That's definitely like the key grip, and the extra didn't show up that day. And they're like, oh yeah, you do it, and then Robert Englund's over here, and he's gonna pop out.
Also, those CGI arms, like it's a cool image, it's a cool idea, but they look like shit.
Yeah,
Sorry, not CGI, those practical arms, they look like just...
But I look at that
pool
and
noodles.
I'm like, ooh, safety.
Yeah.
Because I can look at it.
You know how they wouldn't look like pool noodles, Kev? Computer-generated images.
The future, kids.
Shade. It's getting dark in here. There's so much shade I'm throwing. 80s decor and 80s pants.
I mean, it's unavoidable.
When she's in high school, those pleated pants are fucking terrible.
Not good at all.
Em, you hated the fact that the rose bush read directly to the window?
Oh, yeah. I thought, who has an arbor on top of the roof? That was where the rose bush
I think it only...
The gall of
weird.
these people.
I know.
It feels like a decision that goes backwards, where you have it so that later the parents could have taken it down.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disputing the trellis that leads up to the second story.
It's not the trellis, it's the arbor.
It's the arbor that was on the roof. Like, that just does not ever happen. No one does that. So you should...
Join us for our next podcast, Speaking Home and Garden Jibber Jabber.
Exactly.
About trellises and
We're gonna get into koi pond season, and it's gonna be a 20-parter. How do you pick your fish? How deep does the pond need to be? What are my water changes like?
How
This
to,
and more. Backdoor pilot.
How to future-proof it from seagulls.
Yep. Oh, herons are your koi's worst enemy. Raccoons, too. A bug crawls out of Tina's mouth. Bugs are gross.
Gross. I love it. Oh, I love it.
You and me both jumped at that. It was a millipede. Came out of her mouth.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Part's
that.
great.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's a fake mouth, actually.
It was.
I mean, if it wasn't, that'd be just equally impressive.
Anything else you want to get into before we get into cool stuff?
I wanted to really, not for nitpicks, I got a cool, it might be more than a cool.
Kick us off.
Lots of horror movies have a very drab palette overall. It's
Okay.
usually a lot of grays, a lot of blacks,
blues.
reds. This movie is full of color, and I love it. There's color all over the place in it, in a way that you don't see in a lot of horror movies. It's like, even, it's Freddy's shirt, and all the dream sequences have a lot of different color and texture to them. But then it's just like Johnny Depp's room, has these just big splashes of color, and all the different houses have a lot of different... It's just something I noticed on this viewing of just how much more of a palette there is to this movie than so many other horror movies.
That's fun.
Yeah, so I really like that. Good job, Wes Craven.
Wes Craven, a gentleman and a scholar. They're watching The Evil Dead. That's awesome.
The Evil Dead.
And also, she's terrified of this killer. She's trying to stay awake, and she's watching a horror movie. My kind of girl. Also, Heather Langenkamp, pretty girl. That 80s hair doesn't distract me from that beautiful face. There's so many good lines in this movie. Like, how do you understand? How can you watch TV and listen to records? It's like, I'm watching Miss Universe. Like, well, how can you hear what she's saying? It's like, why would I want to hear what she's saying?
Yeah.
Good line.
Yeah, a lot of just genuine good humor in this movie.
And also, Rod running away from the cops, hilarious. He's like, whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep. I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. Also, Nancy wears blue to a funeral. Bizarre.
Very bizarre. I bet there's something in there. I bet there's a motif there.
I think so too. And going back to because that's a color, that's another color thing. And then there's lots of red all over the. Like, there'll be a guy driving a motorbike in the background, his red helmet and a red bike.
Yep.
It'll be stuff red everywhere. So it's like, I think that has something to do with Freddy too, but I don't know what.
Yep.
Well, it's part of his sweater colors.
He is red and green.
Yeah. So.
Tina in a body bag. Oh my god. What an evocative, scary Nancy. And she's like.
Gnarly.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was
and then
so creepy.
she follows the blood, and then it's like as if someone's dragging her away, but no one's pulling her.
Yeah.
So good. Gnarly. Like you said.
Oh, yeah, that was really creepy.
The lighting in the scene with the elastic wall is fantastic. Because it's just, you don't know where the gag's coming from.
No!
But it's just a straight on shot, and it's like the really nice fill light. It just looks like a good, well lit scene. And then when he leans into it, and it's like, hits it at this perfect menacing shadow that just had to be planned. There's no way that was an accident. DP is thinking, okay, I've got this light here. It's not doing anything now, but as soon as he leans into it, it's like it just gets that great menacing look to it. It's just such a good lighting moment.
Yes.
Any cool things, Em?
I'm sure there are. But nothing that it has not already been expressed.
I got everything.
Is this movie scary?
I think it's fun scary, like I was talking about. It's not visceral scary. It doesn't get under my skin too much. It's more just a haunted house type, like, oh, that's gross, or oh man, that's wild. And then I kind of just forget about it.
Agree to disagree. I think Emily's going to agree that it's scary, but flop what you just said, where it's not fun scary and it is visceral scary.
Yeah, it was scary. Like, I definitely had to take a minute and watch something else happy before I went to sleep.
You watch Bob Ross on Netflix. It's a great way to just relax.
Ooh.
I watched
really
the first
is.
15 minutes of Bridget Jones's Diary.
Oh, well, there you go. There's that, too.
Uh-huh.
Which I enjoyed. I would say this movie is... There's scary images. It doesn't scare me in that, like, kind of way, but, like, I acknowledge that there is scary stuff happening here.
Yep.
But it doesn't affect me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I think it's fun scary. Like
Fun scary.
We talked about Wes Craven, perception versus reality. It's tough, man. It's tough to know what's real and what's not. So in the end, do you like this movie and does it work? Emily.
I did like this movie, and
Woo!
but I did like it. I don't need to see it again.
False.
And yes, it very much did work, in my opinion.
Very good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do you like this movie? It does hold up very well. I think it earns its status as a horror classic.
I agree.
And I think it does things that no other horror movie does in terms of the surreal imagery, the playing with reality, fantasy. It's just very unique in that of all the 80s, 70s horror movies, this one really is distinct.
Dedicated dream logic totally works. It's its own vision. A lot can be read out of this movie. It's great, great, great. And it's interesting that this is held in the pantheon of some other movies that I think are a little bit less good. I think the Friday the 13th franchise, Friday the 13th, I don't know if it ever hits the high of this first movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's goddamn a masterpiece in its own way. Does anyone have a sequel, remake, adaptation, any kind of take on this that they would do?
No.
It's tough to fuck with this movie. It just seems kind of right where it needs to be.
If
I don't want to know much more about Freddy. Is the thing.
Well,
It sounds
don't
like
watch those sequels.
That's all I've heard is that it just tells you everything you want everyone to know about Freddy. It's like I got everything I want right there. You know?
Yeah.
I want that mystery, that menace. Because as soon
I
as you
don't
start,
need it. I don't need more.
everybody just wants to explain everything these days. And
these days in the 80s.
I mean, this is the 80s too. But I don't know.
well,
That's always the easy screenwriting.
Well, but
crutch.
that's also, I think, an immaturity on the society's part, right? Where it's like everyone always wants like the answers. I mean, that's like always the criticism, right? Like of Blair Witch that just came out, which was fantastic. People were always like, "Well, what's the explanation?" It's like that's not scary. An explanation, answers are not scary.
Yep.
Unanswered questions are scary.
Right. Agreed.
That being said, if say someone, the Weinstein, Warner Brothers was like, "Hey man, Mr. Jibber Jabber, you adapt this." My take on it would be Netflix limited series, 10 episodes. That's all I need. You got some kids, you got the house, you got the thing, and my take on it is that it's a story about kids paying for their parents' sins. Fred Krueger didn't hurt any of those kids. He didn't do any of it, but they killed him, and then he comes back as a bad person. And it's about how society can corrupt someone, but through injustice, and then how the next generation has to recognize that injustice.
See, I think that's what they tried to do with the remake, if I'm not mistaken. With
No.
Jackie Haley. Oh, they didn't?
No, in the remake, they doubled down on it. He's a child killer and a rapist.
Okay.
And-
See, I thought he was, all right.
Innocent?
Well, there you
Nope.
go.
Nope.
I know nothing.
Yep. Well, I mean, who saw that fucking movie? I was working in the movie theater. I was working at a movie theater at the time. I could have seen that movie for free. I chose not to.
There you go.
But now I kind of want to see it after watching this. So, joke's on me, guys.
We will see.
Fucking A. That's it for us. This episode written by Kevin, music by Jeff Russell. I'm Mr. Jibber Jabber. He's Kevin. This is the lovely Emily.
Always good to have on the cast.
Yep.
Indeed.
Yes.
I do enjoy Halloween season, and I do enjoy inviting you on our podcast, and I enjoy putting both those things together.
And terrifying.
Two
in
great
the
tastes.
meantime.
Taste
Going
great
great
together. Yep. We'll see you tonight in your dreams.